Hello.
It was 1:37 a.m. when I pushed the back door open, trying to be quiet. The house smelled like rain and leftover dinner. I'd gone out for a walk to clear my head after a long day, telling myself I'd be asleep by midnight. But the streets were empty and cool, and when I finally came back, the lights in the house were mostly off. Only a pale glow leaked from the kitchen at the far end of the hallway. Everyone was supposed to be asleep. My mom had gone upstairs hours ago. My uncle had driven home earlier. My aunt had left for some company party, dressed like she was stepping into another world. I'd caught a glimpse of her before she left. Black dress, hair up, the kind of perfume that lingered even after she was gone. I figured she'd be out late, maybe staying at a friend's place. I didn't expect to see her here. I walked down the hallway, the old floorboards creaking softly under my feet. The glow from the kitchen light made a rectangle on the floor. I slowed down. There was a sound, glass against wood, the faint chime of ice. I thought maybe I was imagining it, but then a shadow moved across the light. I stepped into the doorway. My aunt was at the counter with her back to me, barefoot, heels kicked off near the door. The black dress she'd worn earlier looked different now, creased from sitting, a little crooked at the zipper. Her hair had fallen out of its pins. She was pouring herself a glass of red wine, her arm steady but slow. One of the dress straps had slipped off her shoulder, and in the quiet glow of the kitchen it looked almost deliberate. I froze. She didn't turn around right away, but she must have felt me, because she said, low and even, couldn't sleep. My mouth was dry. No, I managed. Just needed water. She glanced over her shoulder. Her eyes met mine for a second, clear, a little glossy from wine or the night. She gave a small nod, like she was allowing me to exist in the room. Then she reached up and slid the strap back up her shoulder in one slow, unhurried motion. It was such a small thing, but the way she did it made my stomach tighten. The kitchen smelled like her perfume and the sharp tang of wine. I moved to the sink and filled a glass, trying to look anywhere but at her. But my eyes kept drifting back. She leaned against the counter, holding her glass with both hands. The silence stretched. "You're back early," I said, just to break it. "Not early," she answered. "Just done sooner than I thought." She tilted her head, studying me. "And you've changed since I last saw you. You're taller." I smiled faintly but didn't answer. Upstairs, a floorboard creaked. My mom shifting in her sleep. The sound felt louder than it should have. I glanced at the doorway. It was still open. My aunt set her glass down, then pushed a lock of hair behind her ear. "You shouldn't be up this late," she said softly. "But then—" She let the sentence hang. The strap had slipped again, just a little. She slid it back up, slower this time, her eyes never leaving mine. Then she said it. "You're not a boy anymore, are you?" My heart jumped. Her voice was low but clear, not teasing, not scolding, just different. She held my gaze for a long second. Upstairs, another faint noise, like someone turning over in bed. My aunt's phone buzzed on the counter, screen lighting up with a name I didn't recognize. She didn't look at it. I gripped my glass tighter, the cold water biting into my palm. The room felt smaller, the air thicker. She lifted her wine again but didn't drink, just let the glass hover near her lips. Somewhere above us, the pipes creaked. She raised an eyebrow, still watching me. The strap stayed where it was now, but the moment had already slipped past something I couldn't name. Fade to black. I didn't answer her right away. My aunt stood barely a step away, one hand still resting on the counter, the other holding her wine like it had weight. The question she'd asked, "What do you see when you look at me right now?" still lingered in the air, heavier than the rain outside. She hadn't smiled after she said it. She just looked at me, waiting like the answer mattered more than either of us wanted to admit. I opened my mouth. But upstairs, a door creaked, and the moment cracked. Both of us froze. We waited. Nothing followed. Just the soft tap of rain, the hum of the fridge, the sound of my own breathing. I could feel my pulse in my throat. My aunt slowly let out a breath and straightened up. "Thought someone was coming down," she said, low, almost disappointed. I nodded, though I hadn't moved. My hands gripped the edge of the stool, glass still in one, fingertips damp with condensation. My aunt walked a slow circle around the kitchen island, trailing her fingers along the countertop like she was drawing something only she could see. "I used to think you were quiet because you were shy," she said behind me. "Now I wonder if it's because you're always thinking." I didn't speak. I didn't move. She came to a stop just across from me, then leaned forward slightly, elbows on the counter. The neckline of her dress dipped, but she didn't adjust it this time. She just looked at me, one eyebrow raised. "You still haven't answered my question," she said. My mouth was dry again. I took a sip of the wine, buying time. The warmth hit harder this time, or maybe it was just her eyes on me. "You look," I started, then stopped. She waited. "You look different," I said finally. Her lips curved. "Different how?" I shook my head. "I don't know. Just different from when I was a kid." "Because you're not a kid," she said, her voice soft but steady. "And neither am I. So I'll ask you again. What do you see?" I looked at her, really looked at her. The mascara had smudged under her eyes, but it made her look more real. Her lips were a little stained from the wine. Her bare shoulder, where the strap had slipped earlier, was flushed like she'd been standing near a fire. She didn't flinch under my gaze. She didn't cover up. "I see someone who's not pretending tonight," I said. That made her pause. For a second, she didn't smile, didn't blink. Then she looked down at her glass and said, "Good, because I'm tired of pretending." She took a long sip, then walked toward the fridge. I watched the way the dress moved with her. Slow, elegant, loose in places it probably hadn't been earlier in the night. She opened the door, let the cold light spill over her, and reached in for something. "You hungry?" she asked. "I didn't eat at the party." "Not really," I said. She pulled out some leftovers, cheese and grapes, a half-eaten sandwich wrapped in foil. "You used to eat like a machine when you were younger." I smiled faintly. "That was before I saw what midnight wine does to people." She looked over her shoulder and smirked. "It makes them honest." She put the food on a plate and walked back to the island. I stayed on the stool, trying to ignore the heat in my chest. She set everything down, then reached up, again that same shoulder, and brushed a strand of hair out of her face. The strap dropped again. Neither of us moved. Then she reached to fix it and didn't. "Still staring," she said quietly. "You let me," I said. Silence. Outside, thunder rolled in the distance. Not close, not threatening, just a low reminder that something was still moving beyond the house. She stepped closer, close enough that I could feel the warmth coming off her, close enough that her perfume wrapped around me again, softer now, more intimate. "If I fix it now," she said, almost to herself, "it's only because I want to see what you do." And she did. Slowly, fingers grazing her skin, she slid the strap back into place. Her eyes never left mine. "You're not a boy anymore," she said again. But this time there was no question at the end. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I flinched. It was probably my mom, checking if I'd gotten home. The vibration felt like a siren in the stillness. I didn't check it. My aunt leaned back a little, but she didn't step away. "She'll call again," she said, her voice almost amused. "She always does." And you'll pretend everything's normal. I nodded. Just like me, she whispered. Another creak upstairs. Heavy this time, like someone actually got out of bed. She moved fast. My aunt crossed the room and quietly pushed the kitchen door shut. Clicked into place. Soft but final. She turned the lock. Then, slowly, she turned back to me. No smile now. Just something focused in her eyes. Something still. I don't want to pretend anymore, she said. Fade to black. The click of the lock was louder than it should have been. Or maybe it just felt that way in the stillness. My aunt didn't move after she turned the knob. She just stood there, back to the door, watching me. The room felt too warm. Not from the air, but from everything else. The wine, the silence, the way her voice still echoed in my chest. I don't want to pretend anymore. That was what she'd said. I didn't answer right away. My mouth felt dry, and the glass in my hand was suddenly too cold. I set it down. She took a step forward. Outside, the storm had quieted, but inside, every sound was louder. My breath, the thud of my pulse, the low creak of the wood beneath her bare feet. You think I haven't noticed? She said. The way you look at me, the way you wait to speak, like you're measuring every word. I didn't, I started. She held up a hand. Don't lie. Not now. I didn't. Her eyes weren't soft anymore. They weren't teasing. They were sharp but not cruel. Focused. And for the first time, I realized she wasn't just leading this moment. She was risking something too. She crossed the room slowly. Her fingers grazed the edge of the kitchen island. But she didn't stop there. She kept walking until she was close again, closer than before. I didn't back up. You've changed, she said. Not just how you look, how you carry yourself. You don't act like a kid anymore, but you're still trying to decide whether to be one around me. She reached up and touched her shoulder where the strap had been, now perfectly in place. But she didn't adjust it this time. She just touched the fabric like it meant something. I keep asking myself, she said, when that changed, when you stopped being my sister's son and became someone I can't read anymore. I swallowed. Maybe when you stopped treating me like a kid. She blinked. Then slowly, a breath left her lips. She looked away for a second, like she wasn't ready to hold that line of sight any longer. But when her gaze returned, it had settled. Clear, calm, dangerous. Do you want me to open the door? She asked. I didn't answer. Because this is the moment, she said. Right here, right now. Either I turn the knob, or I don't. I could feel everything. The heat of the room, the edge of the stool under my hands, the sharp thrum of blood in my ears. I stood up. We were less than a foot apart now. If you open the door, I said, I'll go upstairs and forget any of this happened. And if I don't, she whispered. We stared at each other. A second, then another, and then a sound upstairs, the unmistakable creak of footsteps on the landing. My mother's bedroom door, the soft squeak of the hallway floor, a shadow passing under the crack in the kitchen door. My aunt turned her head toward it, frozen. Then she turned back to me, fast, her eyes wide, not in fear, but certainty. Without a word, she stepped forward and placed her hand gently on my chest, just enough to guide me backward. She moved like she'd done this before, not with me, never with me, but with someone somewhere in another life, someone who understood silence and the weight of seconds. We both heard the step on the stairs. One, then two. She reached behind me and turned off the kitchen light. Darkness. The footsteps stopped. We didn't breathe. Just beyond the door, we could hear someone shifting, listening. My mother? My uncle? I could feel my aunt's fingers resting lightly against my shirt. Then the footsteps resumed, retreating back down the hallway. A door closed somewhere upstairs. Still, neither of us moved. In the dark, she whispered, "You should go." I nodded. She stepped back, slowly, hand falling away. I turned, walked to the door, unlocked it. The soft click felt final. I paused, looked back. She was still there, barely visible in the faint light from the window. Her silhouette framed by cabinets and quiet and all the things we didn't say out loud. "I wasn't pretending either," I said. Then I stepped out, into the hallway, and left the door open behind me.
Bye bye.